Welcome yet again to another edition of Camarda's Wealth Doctors. I'm very, very honored to be here today with my friend Shelton Scaife, who is a top ranked realtor with Coldwell Banker, who many of you probably know is right here in our building. So thanks so much for joining us, Shelton.
Thank you.
I'd like to kind of introduce him and his team. To begin with, can you give us kind of a brief background synopsis of your professional experience, the qualifications, and what led you to Coldwell here in Fleming Island?
So thank you again for allowing me to come in and speak with some of your clients here today. I've been a broker and a realtor here in North Florida for over 20 years, and I made the move to Coldwell Banker about 13 years ago, and I'm so happy I did.
And I noticed that you have been consistently one of the top ranking and top producing realtors in Northeast Florida. And I tell you, with the elite Coldwell team that I've known, Pete, Dalton, and others probably for 20 years, that really is saying something to be part of that elite group. Tell me what you think you attribute your longstanding success to, Shelton.
Well, they say that behind every good man is a great woman. And I would say for every successful realtor, behind every good realtor is a great team and network. And Coldwell Banker Vanguard Realty has that.
And that really is a great point. Let's drill down a little bit, because consumers these days have a dizzying, array of choices when it comes to transacting in real estate. And it's kind of hard to tell the difference. Tell me what the key benefits of using you and Coldwell are compared to the many other ways they could go.
That's a great question, and I'm glad to answer. Coldwell Banker is not only the largest national brokerage, it's the oldest and most established. And with that reach, you have a national and international benefit for the buyer or the seller. So here we have the largest relocation network also in the nation, which is great. If someone's coming or they're transferring from one place to another, we can help them as well.
So you have a lot of resources, that can be brought to bear to list property or to move property faster, and I guess with better pricing for the folks that are involved, right?
That's true.
So let's kind of shift the perspective a little bit to some of the things that our viewers who tend to be at or near retirement would have an interest in. Can you give me an example of how you help a customer preserve and leverage your equity in a transaction?
Well, a company like Coldwell Banker, they have the strength to offer to our customers things that other brokerages can't, such as a new program we just came out with, and it's called Real Vitalize. The Real Vitalize program allows a customer to tap the equity in their property without selling the property. So in other words, if you had a home and you're moving to this area and you needed to, maybe you want to update your kitchen, or you need to do some staging on the home that you're selling, the Real Vitalize program will actually pay for those improvements.
It's just kind of a financing mechanism so I can, get the old place more marketable and get more money for it, and kind of transition before I put it into a new property.
Without taking your money out of Camarda Wealth or wherever it might be.
Well, that's pretty cool. So it says that offer innovative programs to financing of home improvements. So so that I guess it really depends on what they want to do, but the program is designed to help people sell their houses faster and for more money, right?
And then they sell their home. It's paid for out of closing.
Okay. And the next question, shifting, as many of the viewers may or may not know, I've been a real estate investor. Diversity in investment is really important, and it shouldn't all be stocks or bonds or real estate. It should be a good mixture. And I flipped my first house probably in 1982, so I'm no stranger to real estate investment. And I know that you work with a number of investors as well, Sheldon. Tell me what sort of investment properties you tend to focus on.
Well, as you know, the market shifted several years ago from commercial investment properties back to residential. You have hedge funds and large conglomerates that are now building their own subdivisions around our area. So obviously residential real estate has a great return, cash on cash return. So that is primarily what my recommendation would be. But we also help.
I still need to do the math though, right? You got to look at the cash on cash and the capital and so forth, but it certainly has been a very, very robust market.
It has. There's still some apartment complexes around. There's still some commercial properties that just have to look at it deal by deal.
Now, has the Jacksonville, I guess you concentrate on the Jacksonville market, is that back when I was active buying local investment houses, it was a relative bargain, compared to other markets in the United States. Is that still true? Is Jacksonville still pretty cheap for real estate investors, or has that come up a little bit?
We've all seen the market that's gone up, and everybody that owns property has benefited from that. But I'd say we're still well below some of the areas that we think of that much of the money is coming from, areas like New England, West Coast, Nevada, and so forth.
Yeah. You have, I guess, buyers or sellers too, I guess, sometimes to help facilitate the transaction. Do you typically recommend like mortgage bankers or financing and help them get the loan done, or how does that work?
We can do that. Many times they already have previous relationships, and you may even have some, here at Camarda that could help them to keep it more in-house. But yes, we'll recommend that. We've got local attorneys and so forth if they need advice on that.
So it sounds like there's a lot of your specialty helping folks that are relocating to the Jacksonville or greater Jacksonville area. You get a lot of new customers that way?
We do, but it's, again, in Northeast Florida and even Florida. You mentioned commercial. We've helped folks with commercial transactions all over the state. But primarily, yes, Coldwell Banker Vanguard is based here in North Florida, but we also have a division down in Central Florida.
Good. And tell them that certainly, the rising interest rate environment in later 2022 is having a bit of an impact. Tell me about how you're strategizing to help your buyers and sellers, benefit despite higher mortgage rates?
Well, it depends who you're working with. You put on the cap for the seller and you're thinking one thing, but it's about optimizing the position strategically for that buyer or for that seller. I was out with a family of buyers today, and we're thinking about, okay, the market is where it is today versus 8 months ago. Now a seller, most of the sellers are still wishing that it was where it was last year this time. But we've seen the market level out a little bit, but still it's a very healthy market year over year, and historically the trend is still very positive for sellers.
It sure is. I bet you have a lot of sellers, well, I guess it may be a little bit early in the interest rate curve, that are looking at holding paper in order to benefit from higher interest rates?
We are, and that's a great way to make money on your money also.
Really, which is, and for those few of you that may not be familiar with the term, that's where if I'm selling a piece of real estate, rather than asking the buyer to go out and get a mortgage, they may have put so much down, but I may be willing to take payments myself, and I mean, mortgage rates are 7%, right, for prime buyers these days, so they're getting, pretty attractive, and it's a way to facilitate the sale and bank an attractive interest rate for the seller in the right circumstances. And by the way, folks, for those of you that have an interest, and we'll probably see Shelton again and again in these videos and maybe at some events in 2023, but if you have an interest in learning about him and his services and Coldwell, feel free to email us, and Megan will put a link in the video for you to be able to contact Camarda, and we can pass it on to you. But tell me, Shelton, what again, if I'm looking to buy or sell a house, why do I want to call you? Tell me, sell me on using Shelton for all our viewers out there to be enticed into getting to know you a little bit better.
Well, as humble as we both are, it's sometimes hard to talk about ourselves, right? So they say it's better for others to praise us, but I tell you, it's really probably one of the best forms of compliment that either of us could get is when one of our customers gives our information to a friend or family, and I'll tell you what, I'm so thankful that I've had that over and over again. Other than that, I could talk about experience, I could talk about being a broker, but really it comes down to how does an agent take care of that customer? Do they listen to the customer? Do they actually get back with the customer? I've had so many customers tell me, well, they called a real estate agent on a listing and they couldn't even get a call back.
Actually, I've noticed that, when I've been interested in properties and calling out a sign, it's like pulling teeth to get a response. It's like, forget about it, too much trouble. So, and certainly being referred by satisfied clients or customers is the highest compliment. So congratulations on your reputation there. You mentioned earlier off camera about some of the tricks that you're using now, like assumable mortgages and so forth. Would you like to maybe expand on that a little bit for our viewers?
Well, I will, but first let me say, each individual has specifics that are important to them. So tailoring the transaction and the contract, if you will, how we present it to this customer's needs is paramount. And I think that's one thing that we do, that I've learned to do, is put yourself in that customer's shoes. Knowing what I know about the market and the industry, what are we going to do to have the best result for them? So, such as we're seeing a lot of the things that we've seen cycle back to us, like assumable mortgages. We've not seen this in many, many years.
In fact, I thought they were extinct, actually. When you brought it up, I was surprised.
Well, and they kind of were. But so it depends on the mortgage, depends on VA, FHA, conventional, and the verbiage inside that mortgage. But many mortgages are assumable. The lender will still have to approve it, but that can help a seller to offer something that the other sellers in the neighborhood may not have. Especially,
with rising interest rates, gee whiz, I'd rather assume something maybe in the 3s or 4s, even the 5s these days, than go out and get new paper at 7+.
Absolutely. And I just saw something on your monitor in there that the Fed's saying another 0.5% at least increase this month.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to go on, at least deep into next year. So get it, get that cheap money, not as cheap as it was, but still pretty cheap while you can. So you're finding that that the banks, whoever's got to prove the assumption, are still eager to do that, even with rates going up?
Well, it depends on the strength of the borrower, but yes.
But I mean, like even those that are in the 4s and 5s or 3s?
Again, if you've got a strong borrower and the
so they still want that paper rather than get ready to clear it out and get it paid off. Well, good. That tell you what, that's really extremely attractive. So those of you that are looking to buy in this market, and this we're recording this in late just before Thanksgiving of 2022, look at opportunities for assumption of below market mortgages, below market interest rate mortgages, because that's very powerful. The difference is dramatic. If you look at the payment difference between, I think I refinanced my home mortgage in the mid-2s not that long ago, probably early this year or late last year. And now with rates as high as they are, do the math, because it's amazingly different how much more you'll pay at a high interest rate. So that's a great tip. Any other professional tips or tricks that you'd like to share before we wrap up part B of the video?
Well, get an agent that knows the market, and if you're going to sell a home, one of the first questions I would ask an agent is, how many homes did you sell last year? What are your sales the last few years? Because we have a lot of new agents in the marketplace, as you can imagine.
And that really goes to experience, right, and skill set, and knowing how to get it done, how to get it done efficiently, where you want to be, where you don't want to be. And that's a great point. I mean, it seems like you can find, a licensed real estate agent on every street corner, some of whom don't do a lot of, aren't very active or effective. So that's a really good point. You want to work with folks that get it done. Go ahead, sorry.
Someone that keeps the customer first.
That's right.
Not just looking for a transaction. One other thing, if I have enough time, is when you build a relationship with a customer, you're going to find out what's important to them.
Yeah, fact finding is critical.
True.
Good. Any parting remarks as we bid 2022 goodbye and hearken to 2023?
I'm just thankful to be working with you and potentially for your customers for all the right reasons. We want to take care of your customers, and since we are close by, I'm glad to pop in anytime.
Good. Well, certainly looking forward to continuing the series and drilling down into some really important educational concepts to help folks really maximize their real estate investment experience, whether it's for investment or just for a home. But certainly a lot of dollars involved, and you want to get it right. Anyway, thank you so much, and until the next video, this is the Wealth Doctors bidding adieu for the nonce. See you soon. Bye-bye.